Okay, Assalamualaikum to everybody. So today we are going to look at the next lecture in REM 312 topic, real estate marketing. So today we are going to look at regarding the characteristics of real estate products being used. Like you all know, this is my name, and I will be delivering the lecture online today. So for characteristics of real estate products, so real estate marketing deals with the real estate product. Even though we are not the one who develops or even builds these real estate products like houses or like offices or factories, but in this subject, we are the one that is being entrusted to market and even at some point sell these products to the general market. It is necessary at the outset to obtain an appreciation of features of real estate products and what makes real estate marketing a specialized discipline as opposed to general marketing. So for general marketing, it can be towards anything. We are If you are trying to sell a water filtration system, you are trying to sell an air conditioning system, but we focus more towards real estate. We focus more towards properties, because in our field and profession, if you have the knowledge, if you have the expertise towards real estate, then it's going to help much more on the part of you can help in explaining towards the potential buyer the types of property, the size of the property, the location, the strength, weakness, opportunity, and even the threat that the products have. Okay. So real estate refers to land and buildings and anything that is attached or affixed to them. So this is a definition that is provided under Section 5 of the National Land Code of Malaysia, and you can refer towards the property law regarding this kind of definition. Okay. So we often view real estate from its physical perspective, that is the physical building which we can touch and also feel, like um, our houses that we live in. We have physical aspect, we have the wall, we have the doors, we have the roof. So the real estate product is not something that is in a digital form, like your social media handle or everything. That one is on digital form, but for real estate it's more towards physical form. Okay. So common interest in real estate are freehold and leasehold, which include all types of real estate, especially in Malaysia. So usually for freehold, in Malay it's called forever, selama-lamanya, forever and ever. And as for leasehold, according to National Land Code, state governments can provide up to 99 years of lease that we can purchase, and if the lease already expired, then we can pay premium towards the state government for the lease to be continued. Okay. So unique features of real estate. Number one, most important aspect of a real estate is that the location itself. If a building is similar in the design, similar in the material being used and everything, the location is very unique. The location is not the same. Even though it's a terrace house just side by side, but the location of the land itself is unique towards that particular house only. It's not the same, even though it's nearby and also side by side. Okay. The location cannot be physically moved. Even a row of terrace houses of similar design and finishes constructed by a developer may be different because of specific location of each house. Like in the Chinese, they have a feng shui. Like in our culture, in Malaysian culture, we emphasize more on location because we wanted to get the prestige. As if you can see the address, like if you have address in Damansara and you compare with an address in Botta, so of course people will associate the address in Damansara as more prestigious and everything as compared to Botta, because they know Botta is a very rural area, kampung area, and there's not a lot of facility as compared to houses that is located in Damansara. Okay, so the value of real estate therefore depends very much on and affected by the physical environment in which the property is in. Like we used the case study before, Damansara and Botta, of course. Everybody, if they have the chance, they wanted to live in a very modern area. Even if they don't really like urban areas, but sometimes they don't have any choice because they are working in the Klang Valley and they cannot commute every day from Botta to Klang Valley, so they have to physically live there because of constraint and everything. But in Botta, even though the design of the houses is similar to in the houses in the Damansara area, but the property prices and value is not going to be the same. If Damansara property prices is a condominium is the same in Botta is 500,000 ringgit, in Botta it might be just 150 or 200,000 ringgit, because the prices in the location, the prices of the land that the property is built upon. Okay, like this picture, like I put as an example. So this is a picture of Angkor Wat. Even though we can replicate Angkor Wat, we made another Angkor Wat and we put in Singapore, for example, but it's not going to be the same because people came here for the location. Angkor Wat is located in Siem Reap, Cambodia, and they will know if a similar building is being built in Singapore, it's not going to have the same value as the one that is located in Siem Reap, Cambodia. Okay. Also in our state, Perak, we have Kelly Castle. Kelly Castle also is a valuable monument that if we replicate Kelly Castle elsewhere, it's not going to be the same value as the one is located in Batu Gajah, Perak. Okay. Another characteristic of real estate product is that for real estate, it is high price. A large amount of capital is required to purchase or invest in real estate, and the property purchase requires substantial capital outlay, which include high acquisition cost, holding cost, and disposal cost. As for the regular people, usually in purchasing a property is the most significant thing in their whole lives, and usually for properties it involves a lot of money. Right now in Malaysia, currently for properties to be affordable is around 400,000, 300,000 ringgit, and this kind of capital is not going to be easy to be obtained. Like our monthly salary, we have to save up 15 to 20 years just to get this kind of capital, and usually this kind of capital we obtain through financing, because is involve a lot of money. If you wanted to purchase a bubble tea, is about 10 ringgit, but if you wanted to purchase a house, 400,000 ringgit. So there's a massive difference between the kind of product that we needed to purchase in our life. Okay, time lag. The time taken to complete a property sale is relatively longer than the purchase of the common goods and products. Longer time is required to ensure that the title of the property is properly ascertained, meaning that we have to deal with the land officers, we have to deal with the lawyers, the estate agents, and follow all the protocol and the proceedings needed for a timely property transaction to happen within the required legal requirements. So development of real estate also takes some time. For example, if you purchase a house today, the time taken to change the name in the um, um, document of title is going to be longer. Maybe have to take 4, 5, or even 6 months time for the name to be changed. As compare if you just purchase a television, then you can go towards the shopping mall and then pay for the television and just bring the product back home. But for property, it's not the same. It is it takes a lot longer than that. Okay. Legal registration. So real estate are controlled to a greater extent by government policy and regulation than other common goods and products. And these controls, such as restriction on property ownership and development control of the use, will affect the supply and demand of a property and hence its value. So in Malaysia is a unique situation because the land is not controlled by the federal government. In Malaysia, the land is controlled by the state governments. So whenever we want to purchase a property, we have to follow the legal regulations provided by the state. Like in Perak, we have to follow the regulation provided by the state of Perak. Whether if they wanted to impose, let's say, only people born in Perak can purchase a home in Perak. So that way, other residents in Malaysia, other people in Malaysia that was not born in Perak cannot purchase a home or even a property in Perak. But luckily, our state Perak is doesn't enforce that kind of rules and regulation. But nevertheless, you have to check with your respective states regarding the rules and regulation in purchasing a property. Okay. Management. Property needs to be maintained and also managed. Property is relatively durable than most other goods. It has to be kept in a proper state of repair and upgraded or renovated when required. And the property life cycle of real estate will have implications on its marketing. So for management, not only we talk about properties that are under strata management, but also the properties such as single-story terrace houses, semi-detached, or even bungalows. This kind of things, this kind of property, we have to manage on our own. If we didn't manage our property, the bungalow, we just left it without being repainted, without being repaired on the fixtures and fitting, then of course the value of the building can be reduced. I'm talking about the building, not the land. Land might be appreciating, but the value of building will be lower because you didn't manage and maintain the property well. Okay, like here, example of property. This one is in an apartment in Subang Jaya, whereby we can see the elevator that is not being maintained well and have to be closed off. And then luckily at this apartment there is another elevator that the residents can use, but they have to queue up longer just to get into the elevator and return back to their respective parcels. If in another situation, if the management is not provided good enough, maybe both of the elevators cannot work. So people in the higher floors, in the 9th floor and the 10th floor, they have to walk up on the staircase a lot longer just to reach their respective parcel or even homes. So we don't want this kind of situation to happen. If we have a property, if we have if we live in strata properties like this one, so we have to work together. For the residents, we have to do our part in paying up the service charges, and the property management companies must properly conduct all the essential services, like checking the elevators periodically and everything. Okay, this is also another example of whereby property that is not being maintained well. So this example is actually in Caracas, Venezuela, and this is the Tower of David. We can see from the picture here, people are living without the proper property management. You can see that in the parcels, even the walls are not being cordoned off properly, meaning they have openings in the wall. So it's very dangerous. People can go up the wall and just trip over and fell down to their death. So this kind of living situation shows that if property is not being managed well, you live in this kind of places, then it's going to be also very hazardous. This is another picture or example of the Tower of David that I mentioned before. These kids are playing at the very dilapidated property. So it's actually very dangerous. Even though it has some handrail, but if you look at the back, there's no proper handrail. So these people are really risking their lives living in this building. Okay. So the main feature of real estate marketing. So real estate products can be sold before they are completed. Unlike most common products, hence the marketing can take place even before the products are completed. So this is referring towards the common practices being adopted in our country, that is sell and build. Because most property developers, they don't have enough capital to build the property, then sell the property afterwards. So they usually sell off their design first, and afterwards, when they already achieve maybe 70 to 80% of the property being sold, then they can start working on building the properties, on building the houses, on building the office towers, and etc. Real estate products are unique as every product is different from the other because of its location. This one I already described earlier. The pricing of real estate product can also vary depending on the characteristics of the product and also the location. Direct marketing using personal selling is the most common form of selling real estate product. But usually nowadays, in the technological advances age, we can also adopt other kinds of marketing. Like most of the marketing teams nowadays, they like to use social media. Social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Even using Instagram is also very beneficial, as because they can highlight the show houses that have already been built, and they can show this is the kind of house that we already built, and this is the quality of material. So that kind of example is more enticing towards people, and people will become more attracted to purchase this kind of property. So the marketing channel used is often very short, from the owner selling directly to the buyer, or at most through agent. And transaction of real estate product takes a longer time for completion to ensure that the title and other aspects of the property are in order. Because for land officers to produce the title, they have to survey out the land. The master title is a very big title, like 500 hectares, and they needed to be broken down. To fit major housing or residential development. So each houses might have 5,000 square foot of land area, and then we have to divide. We have to divide the bigger land area to accommodate these smaller residential lands being converted into houses. Okay. For example, this one type of marketing that I think a little bit precarious. Come a little bit closer. People will be intrigued to see what is being marketed here. Oh, so it's actually a death trap. Come a little bit closer, so people come here and then can get run over by the trains coming. So this kind of marketing action is actually irresponsible, and I hope our students and also graduates didn't do this kind of things afterwards. Okay. So forms of real estate selling, the following are the three common methods of selling a property. Number one is through private treaty. This one is purchasing through sub-sale houses or even through developer. Number two is through tender. Tender is the action whereby you purchase through government tenders or even private tenders, and usually for tender is associated with the higher value of real estate products, meaning there's a very specific buyer, and not everybody can purchase this kind of property being sold through tender. And lastly is number three is auction, whereby if a property owner doesn't have the capability to pay his or her monthly installments, and the bank, who is the lien caveat holder, owners, meaning they can auction off these properties to get back their capital that they have financed towards the borrowers. Okay. So this is an example of auction process going through. You can see people lining up here, and they take the number and they already paid the deposit for the opportunity to be inside an auction room and to bid towards the auction properties. So for auctions, usually the prices, the reserve prices will be 20 to 30% lower than the market prices. And if you are lucky, if a property is not being auctioned off 3 or 4 times, then the auctioneer can even lower the reserve prices, so just to ensure that the property can be auctioned off. So auction processes, it can be quite intriguing, but at the same time we have to be careful, as we don't want to be dragged into a bidding war, whereby the actual market value of the property is only about 200,000 ringgit, but because you are in a bidding war, you already outbid the other bidder and you pay 250,000 ringgit, then the original market value of around 200,000 ringgit. So you already lost 50,000 ringgit because you wanted to show everyone else in the room that you really want this property, and then you have the money. So be careful about auctions. Sometimes you can get a good deal. If the market value is around 200,000 ringgit, maybe we can get 170, 180,000 ringgit of the auction price. So that way we can save 10 or 20,000 ringgit, rather than paying the full market value of the property. Okay. So that's about it for our lecture today. So if you have any questions, you can contact me through WhatsApp, and then you can also post the question inside the Padlet, and inshallah we will also continue our lecture next week, and we will also conduct a tutorial afterwards based on this lecture. Okay, so that's about it for our today's lecture, and I wish you all the best. Assalamualaikum and warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.